Chapter 11, The Great Coffee Swindle. Roasted coffee has a problem. Once it's ground and sealed in a bag, you can't just look at it and know what's inside. A whole green bean is easy to check. A dark powder in a package is not. That simple fact made coffee an easy target for fraud. For over a century, plenty of people took advantage of it. An almost endless list of fakes. Chicory is the most famous coffee fake. It started under Frederick the Great's Prussian coffee monopoly. People kept using it long after the monopoly ended. By then, many just liked the taste. But chicory was only the start. Once people learned that mixing chicory into ground coffee could fool a buyer, they got creative. The list of fillers is almost hard to believe. Malt, starch, acorns, soybeans, beetroots, figs, prunes, date stones, ivory nuts, sweet potatoes, carrots, peas, bananas, dried pears, grape seeds, dandelion roots, citrus rinds, lupin seeds, whey, peanuts, juniper berries, rice, wax palm fruit, cola nuts, chickpeas, cassia seeds. Basically, anything cheap and roastable got used. Here's why the trick worked. Roast almost any starchy plant and it turns dark. It even picks up a faint coffee-like smell. So a buyer glancing at a tin of dark powder often couldn't tell the difference. Not by sight. Sometimes not even by taste. Some counterfeiters went even further. They made fake whole coffee beans from molds. Then they mixed these fakes in with real beans and sold the batch as genuine. These fakes had one weakness though. They were too perfect. Real beans, shaped by nature, always have small irregularities. A mold can't fake that. Painting bad coffee to look good. Fraud didn't stop at substitution. Sellers also disguised bad coffee to make it look good. Damaged or discolored beans got coated and colored to seem fresh. Some of these coloring agents were genuinely dangerous. Lead and zinc chromates, Prussian blue, ferric oxide, and coal tar dyes. Sellers glued these onto the beans just to hide damage. Glazing was common too. Sellers used butter, margarine, vegetable oils, paraffin, petroleum jelly, gums, dextrin, gelatin, resins, glue, milk, glycerin, salt, baking soda, vinegar, Irish moss, isinglass, and egg albumin. They claimed it preserved the coffee's aroma. The real reason was less noble. These coatings made beans soak up water. That padded out the weight of a batch with things that weren't coffee at all. It also made low-grade beans look better on a shelf. One method stands out as especially unsettling. Workers treated damaged coffee in a diluted sulfuric acid bath. They agitated the beans, rinsed them, and dried them. This actually worked. It removed discoloration and gave the beans a cleaner look. Buyers had no idea the coffee had ever gone bad. Faking the voyage itself. Here's a clever scheme. Certain high-grade coffees developed a deeper brown color during long sailing voyages from East India and Arabia. Months in a ship's hold with humidity and gentle heat did this naturally. Traders called it sweating. Buyers came to associate that color with genuine high-quality coffee, so they paid a premium for it. Naturally, sellers found a shortcut. They steamed ordinary low-grade coffee to fake that same sweated color. In effect, they were counterfeiting a process, not a product. They made coffee that never left port look like it had crossed an ocean. Eventually, a federal court ruled on this. It called artificial sweating a form of adulteration and misbranding, selling Sumatra as Java and Abyssinia as Mocha. Two place names carried huge weight in coffee's history, Mocha and Java. Both had become so tied to quality that buyers used them as their only real vocabulary for good coffee. Traders exploited that shamelessly. Coffee from Sumatra got sold as Java, despite coming from a different island entirely. Coffee from Abyssinia got sold as Mocha, sometimes under the name Longberry Mocha. It had no real connection to the Arabian port. Before Brazil took over the global market, this kind of borrowed prestige was common. An entire trade jargon grew up around it. The issue reached a courtroom. In February 1912, a Chicago court heard a case against the seller of Abyssinian Longberry Mocha. The defense argued that trade custom had long treated Abyssinian and Mocha coffee as interchangeable. The court disagreed. It ruled that only coffee from the actual place of origin could use these names. Not every coding case was clear fraud though. Some sat in a real gray area. In one case, the Arbuckle Brothers Coffee Company coated roasted beans in sugar and egg. Government chemist Dr. Harvey W. Wiley investigated. Wiley was a leading figure in the pure food movement. He found the coating harmless. He even said it helped preserve the beans and improve the cup. So the Federal Bureau of Chemistry never banned coating outright. Coating existed on a spectrum: helpful preservation on one end, toxic disguise on the other. Sorting out which was which took years of work by courts and chemists. Catching the fakes. Fraud didn't go unchallenged. As adulteration grew more common through the 1800s, so did the science to catch it. Some of these detection methods still hold up today. The simplest test needed only a bowl of cold water. Sprinkle ground coffee on the surface and stir. Real coffee particles tend to float, as long as they aren't badly over-roasted. Chicory and roasted cereal substitutes sink almost right away. Chicory also stains the water a telltale brown. Any suspicious buyer could run this test at their own kitchen table. For tougher cases, inspectors used microscopes. They looked for the cell structures of chicory, legumes, and grains mixed in with real coffee. These structures looked different enough under magnification for a trained eye to catch. Whole beans got checked by eye too. Fake molded beans, hulls, stones, and other foreign bits stood out once someone looked closely. The law finally catches up. For most of the 1800s, this whole shadow industry ran with almost no legal restraint. That changed in 1906. The Pure Food and Drugs Act brought coffee under real federal regulation for the first time. The new rules set a quality floor. They barred severely damaged, low-grade coffee, a category the trade called blackjack. The law classified artificial sweating as adulteration and misbranding, shutting that trick down. And it restricted names like Java and Mocha to coffee actually grown in those places. That put real legal weight behind names traders had borrowed for generations. There's a strange, almost circular shape to this whole story. Coffee's reputation was built by places, first Mocha, then Java. People fought for centuries to control, smuggle, and grow the crop tied to those names. Once the names became valuable enough, a new kind of exploitation showed up. People who'd never grown a single coffee tree in either place just borrowed the names outright. They counterfeited the reputation itself, not just the product. It took a full century of chemistry, court cases, and federal law to close that loophole. Market pressure had already been pushing the same direction, even before the law caught up. For most of coffee's history in America and Europe, stores sold it loose. Grocers scooped it from open barrels and bins. That setup made it easy for a dishonest shopkeeper to blend in cheap substitutes, and customers would never notice. Then in the second half of the 1800s, sealed and branded packaged coffee took over. This wasn't just more convenient for busy households. It built trust. A sealed package with a company's name on it created accountability. A scoop from an anonymous barrel never could. That's exactly why the biggest packaged coffee brands of the era leaned so hard in their ads on promises of purity and consistency. They were selling freedom from the very fraud this chapter has covered. What's coming next? Fraud and disguise are just one corner of coffee's story after it leaves the roaster. Around the world, different cultures built their own completely legitimate ways to turn roasted coffee into a finished drink. The rituals differ so much that a cup in Istanbul, a cup in Naples, and a cup in New Orleans barely look like they came from the same plant. Next, we'll tour the wildly different ways coffee gets brewed and served around the world. We'll go from thick, unfiltered Turkish coffee simmered slowly in a small copper pot, to the elegant, pressurized rituals of French and Italian coffee culture, and everywhere in between.